Welcome to Guys Like Us. If you're new here, this is the space for questions that start getting louder in midlife, the ones that move the needle from doing just well to actually living the good life. We deconstruct stories that shaped us, from leadership and legacy to the deep friendships and late nights that continue to move us. No surface level talk here, just some lightly decanted reflections on existential questions and champagne problems. And in today's episode, this is gonna be a fun one, I think, because I'm gonna call it Keeping the Old Man Out. So,
nice. Keeping the old man out. How's that going?
yeah.
Okay.
Well,
That's a
we'll
big
see.
one.
We'll see how it's going.
Yeah.
I'm Mark. Joining you from my fabulous wine cellar in New York City. And
Hey, Mark.
hey, how are you? And I'm joined by Paul. Paul, where are you today?
I am back in Vienna after
Okay.
a busy week. Still recovering. But yeah.
Oh, how
back
was
in
your
Vienna.
week? Tell me about that. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, last time we checked in, I was on the way to Paris where we met,
Yeah.
and basically didn't record a single episode. Didn't create any content. I think, and then one thing we tried, let's see if we can actually use that, because that was late at night,
Yeah, exactly. I'm really scared to listen to that again. It's funny.
Yeah, I bet you. I'm gonna actually, if I have the time, gonna send you the best offs of you, especially of the recording we aborted.
Oh
and
my
then I
God.
got home and then I went skiing for a couple of days, and it was beautiful, but it was not less intense than Paris was.
Got it.
So, yeah, I'm on my second day of recovery, and I'm doing better.
Yeah. I'm on my.
How about yourself, man?
Yeah,
I mean,
dude. It was so I was in Europe for the week for business, trying to get my my business off the ground and testing it over there. And so obviously we had a wonderful few days in Paris, and then I was in Berlin for 4 days almost. So that was that tested both the philosophy of my business model and my body in equal measure. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, what did withstand the pressure in a better way, your body or your business model?
That's true. I would say my business model, which is so what I was thinking about.
Actually, that's good. I mean,
yeah, it's good.
it's a bit useless when your business model still stands and you're dead, but in principle, as long as you survive, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Part of the genesis for this episode, I was thinking on the flight back as as I was crossing somewhere over the Atlantic, and I was thinking to myself, like, how is it, Mark, that you are like, you could have your week could have been so many different things. It could have been relaxing. You could have just done nothing, right? Done a few meetings and stayed home, right? And yet you rose to challenge yourself to be, like, I don't know, filled not just with loads of meetings, but see all your friends, like do all the things that you love to do with your friends for since 20 years, that kind of thing, and let the energy and the joy kind of flow through you. And so that was a bit of the nature for this episode, and yet it also hits some real hard truths that I thought would be kind of interesting to explore with you together.
Yes, but for context, right, for our listeners, you arrived in Paris on Sunday night, you spent 3 nights there, and then you left for for Berlin, and spent another few nights there with friends.
Yeah, 4 nights there,
and business, obviously, and then you flew home on Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay, that is intense, right? And so I mean, after this, now also coming from a week in a different time zone and a long flight, what are you drinking tonight?
I was about to go there thinking, well, this is my favorite non-alcoholic beer, the Athletic.
We've had it before.
Yeah, well, I like to be consistent sometimes. Yeah.
No, it's beautiful. I'm having a cup of tea. It is I think it is, the tea is called, it's called gute Verdauung, which is good digestion.
Right.
So
good.
That's
okay.
my tea. Yeah.
We're like 2 prize fighters who've been knocked out, on the side. So it's kind of funny. And
hey, Mark,
go ahead. Interesting.
Yeah.
So listen, I thought I would start off by reading some text messages that I got from some of my friends, by the way, who are all over 40 over the weekend. One was basically, "Hey, I'm pretty destroyed. Thank you so much. That was worth it." Like I was in high school again. Then I heard another friend friend saying, "I think I entered the ninth dimension with you. That was crazy. That was a lot of fun." Right. Uh, Another one was, "I've been sick for 2 days," right? But I don't think this was related to me. They were just up at I don't know, out in nature, and I almost pooped my pants while skiing.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, can
yeah,
happen, you
so
know?
basically,
Yeah.
well, basically, there's a whole circle of friends that were out doing stuff, and I don't think it was just, partying. I think they were just trying to be around. And look, I did some research of this. So key stats for us, and this is shouldn't just be about aging and but this is also about, I think, living kind of really creatively, ambitiously, vivaciously. And just to throw out some few stats against us. So did you know that we have a bit of a sleep architecture collapse? That deep sleep drops up to 50% in your 40s?
Really?
Yeah, that's right. Did you
Wow.
know that?
No.
And your REM drops off significantly as well.
Huh. Yeah, that hurts. Yeah. No, but
This
I
one, I
know
think,
I kind of knew it.
yeah,
I think you produce also less melatonin. That's why you should also supplement it, so it's harder for us to fall asleep. That's why I take it every night.
you take
But yeah,
melatonin every night. Wow, I didn't know that.
mm.
Okay.
Very little though. It's just 1 milligram and not 10. That's in your average. And your average US portion size of melatonin supplement is totally zones you out. Yeah.
So it's everything. As,
Yeah. So, but anyways, yeah.
as everything in the US, when you take a pill, you're like, wait a second, that's legal?
Really? Exactly.
Yeah. I was like, what? Okay. Next one, of course, the second thing against, I think this we know, you lose 3 to 5% of your muscle mass per decade after 30, right? I
Yeah,
think
we
that's why
talked
we're
about that with
always
Audrey. Yeah.
with them. Exactly. And then I think it's the amount of what's called the risk aversion. So the amount of the men in their 40s and 50s account for a massive spike in emergency room visits for torn Achilles tendons and tears for the weekend warrior sports. So, I thought that was all just from a physical kind of perspective. And then I think, in the mindset piece, and we talked about this a little bit, like how people have been shifting from buying Corvettes in their midlife crisis, or pick your version of that, and uh, to now investing in kind of longevity plays, like the cold plunge
Yeah.
pool and this kind of thing.
Yeah. 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 That's true.
But I thought I would start. So after just laying the ground for context, is Paul, when I say keeping the old man out, what does that mean to you?
Well, let's first of all give credit to who credit is due, right? And when and
Yeah, that's
the
true.
funny thing is we both obviously have a very similar Instagram feed by now, which is great because I think that's where we both saw it, right? And there's a snippet of an interview. I think it was in the Daily Show. I think no Morgan Freeman, and
Yeah.
he was asked about the piece of advice that he got from Clint Eastwood about aging. I mean, mind you, that Morgan Freeman is 88, right? And Clint Eastwood is past 90 something, 4 or 5, I don't know. Anyways, and he said, I mean, that would be amazing to get his original voice now. Never let the old man in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's awesome. And so I can, and then, and I listened to this and I saw this. And as a few days later or moments later, almost, I felt I was walking up a mountain on skis and I really tried to keep my bearings together. I was actually thinking of that sentence. I tell you, I was like, Paul, don't let the old man in. Don't let the old man in. That was so. It was so funny when you left me this voice this morning, where you quoted this because it was literally with me the whole weekend.
Really? Okay. So our timing
Yeah,
is perfect. Okay.
our timing is perfect. Um, so I thought about, so I'm prepared. I'm actually prepared
Yeah,
because I
exactly.
think it is, and it happens to me quite a lot. I think I do it a lot, is to say, oh man, I can't do this anymore. I'm too old for this shit. Oh, my
Mm.
back hurts again. Of course, that's age. It's kind of, to me, it's, what it means to me is talking badly about yourself because of your age. or in like
Yeah.
talking badly
Yeah.
about myself because of my age, and
Mm.
attributing some things that hurt or not don't work that well anymore, or not like they used to be, to age. And that's what I connect to letting the old man in. What about yourself?
So I take I'd say that definition is probably 20% of my definition. I think
Okay.
80% of it is um the the resting on your laurels like you've retired kind of thing. Like it is someone
Huh.
who wants to stay cozy at bed, smoke a pipe, which is awesome sometimes, but not go out. Like you're already sort of given up on life in some way. You're in retirement mode, and okay, giving up on life might be a little bit dramatic, but you're
I would
you're in
say, because
the
I mean, that's
but you're in
just
the
a different stage of life.
yeah, well, you're in the twilight of your life. Let's put it that way. For many, and you're just more in reflection mode, and can't be bothered. You know, that's
I mean,
where.
I think it's interesting, right? Because I mean, in a way, don't we give this the old man a negative connotation there, by the whole thing? Because I mean, isn't the old man? Doesn't the old man also have attributes that are very positive? Like the old man is wise. The old man is usually kinder, right? You say you. This is kindness
Yeah.
is a sign of age, and mildness. So I mean, let's take a few steps back here on the society's damning of old people.
Okay, but hold on. I don't think that's actually what that quote is about. So I think that quote is not about senior, like trashing
Age
senior
shaming.
people. Right. No. I think what he's trying to say, I think, like, don't let, I mean, this is in response to, hey, how do you keep making shit at 92 or whatever it was to Clint Eastwood? He's like, don't let the old man in, which means that, as he is aging and he's facing the realities, that's how I interpreted it, right? He's like defying that to stay hungry, to stay creative, to feel like he's ready to still make a mark. And I think that's an interesting mindset to draw upon.
And I think what you said before, that giving up on life is not wrong, actually,
Mm.
and to understand old in this context as that, because old by itself is not a bad thing, right? But the
No.
old man, and what you can negatively attribute to, maybe, what you can imagine as an old man is actually, and that's why I think you connected it to retirement. Is like, whatever,
Yeah.
I'm letting go. What am I still here for? My kids are old. I never see my grandkids. I have no job anymore. And it is kind of giving up on life, which is then when you start aging really quickly and usually also dying because you have no purpose in life. From what you read. No, but it's true, because retirement by itself, I don't think has to be a negative thing. It can be a phase of your life where, to be honest, I don't think it's not my life goal to work in a sense, or do the same thing that I'm doing now. I mean, if I did movies now, do I have to do movies for another 50 years like Clint Eastwood? If it's my passion, maybe, but maybe my retirement also means I can do something else and I can start a new thing in my life, right?
What that just means is
So
that you're doing something else, right? And I think that's you're
you can
doing
also mow your
something.
lawn and make the most perfect lawn in the world, and that's not giving up on life. It's a different thing.
It's
So I
true.
don't think that
Bye bye that.
productivity should be a measure of not being old or old, because it's putting the same productivity filter and everything, that doing
I
things and
no
creating
no no no.
things
I
is good
agree.
and not doing things is bad.
No, I
And I don't
agree.
think that's right.
I don't actually. I don't think that's what we're saying. I mean, I think we're agreeing um, that you success isn't being productive. Let's put it this way in life, or living isn't just being productive. That might
Yes.
be it. Maybe
Yeah.
that's the right way of putting it. Right. I think it's much more dynamic than that. But I think the vibrancy of being alive, right, and the vibrancy of or the hunger to push yourself to enjoy your time on this planet, right? And I think that to me is what tends to fade, right, as people age a little bit.
Yeah. And I
And
think
some of that
age
is
very
due to the
often
real
is used.
the
Mm,
physical limitations that's really hard, and some of it is just they get tired, right? It's a mental thing, and
yeah.
that to
And
me is what actually I wanted to explore. Less the physical stuff, because shit like that happens to you. We already talked about how you have to stay fit and to prepare
of
yourself, blah blah
course.
blah. It's the mental thing, that
And I
really
think
intrigues
there's
me.
Yeah, no, I hear, and I was just trying to be a little bit getting a definition of this because I don't
Yep,
want us to pigeonhole something in one direction.
totally.
What I associate with it, the negative sides of being old is to kind of accept what society broadly expects from you when you're old, which is
Mm,
kind of get out of the way and stop doing things because you're old, and
mm,
then you consequently using your age as an excuse not to do things anymore, although you probably would
mm,
be very much able to do so. And to me, that is letting the old man in. That's kind of my
mm,
definition.
mm.
And yeah, that's where I stand. So you asked me what I think about this. This was a very long
Yeah, no, it's
statement on
important.
that.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
so let me ask you this: like, so, like and maybe this episode will be us defining this, but actually, I think it is kind of interesting. Like, do you have people in your friend circle who just feel older? They've accepted, like, they've stopped. They've gone from fifth gear, right, on enjoying life, to use a car metaphor, and shifting down to like two or three. Have you not experienced that in your circle?
No, I've experienced. I think it's very interesting because kind of like when you cross the landmark of the 40s, I think that's when I always say that the kind of the gap opens, right?
Yeah.
While in your 30s, you don't really also see it and feel it. But then I think, especially in your mid 40s, there are some guys, especially now I'm talking mainly about guys that still look like they would be in their end 30s and then beginning 40s, are fit and doing stuff, and that nothing has changed, right?
Hmm.
That could also be negative, by the way. That's why I think, and if you want, and then there's others that to me look like 55. I'm like, what the fuck has happened? And I mean that in a negative way.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say friends now, but people I know.
Yeah.
Um, just to put this in context. And
All your friends
again,
are beautiful and fit.
I- I'm not with you in that switching gears from fifth to fourth because maybe I was in sixth or seventh or eighth gear for most of the past 20 years of my life. And I don't think I am
Mm.
right now or in a different way. And I think it's one of the best decisions I've ever, done, make it in my life.
Yeah. Okay. But I think we're conflating create productivity as a gear level, right?
Oh, well, you
Versus
just did
just,
again.
oh, fucking hell. Maybe I did it. I have to stop. I think. well,
Yeah.
well, let
Well,
me
maybe
share.
you didn't.
Okay.
I misunderstood you, but
No, that's fine. But let me share, at least, I guess, a little bit what I'm experiencing. So this thing about the gap in the 40s, the widening, to me
yeah.
feels really
Yeah.
true. And also like a philosophy of living that I've seen kind of interesting, where like where I see more some of my friends and family like choose the easier thing, right? Versus like with a shorter term payoff versus the harder thing, maybe with a longer term, payoff, right?
Mhm.
And so it could be like where it is that you choose to vacation, right? Like some, you could go down to like the Jersey Shore, right? Or hop on a plane and go someplace you've never been to before, but it's a little bit harder. You have kids, but the payoff is much higher, making it up, right? Simple example, that kind of thing. It could also just be in terms of what to do on a Friday or Saturday night. I mean, I have friends like who were out the entire time, in my 30s, and now this time it's like getting them out is a win that you cannot like I can't even describe what it feels like to see them. It's like, "Oh,
And
you've
when
left
you
the
ask
couch."
them why, what do they tell you?
They're like, "I just don't feel like it anymore." They're like, "I did that in my 30s." And I'm not saying we're going out to clubs and stuff like that. I'm like, "Let's go to like a comedy show or a blues club, guys." Like, something like that feels, fun, right? Versus just whatever, like a dinner party at home, which is what seems to be how people measure themselves. And I just find that like really interesting. That's an increasing, I would say 20% of my friend circle is actually kind of taking that lifestyle on. And I still enjoy talking to them. It's not that they become less intelligent, but you feel like, like there's something that you've curbed about I, the way you're enjoying life that's interesting, or the way that or you're putting yourself in a box that feels like a little too early to do so. You know,
Yeah, but you're also judging the box.
is that a
Be-
bad thing? I am judging the box, by the way, fully.
Yeah, but there could be people who never like going out, also in their 20s, and things and preferences change, right? I mean, people might like this now, and then and then don't like it anymore. I mean, I don't like, and I don't particularly love I wouldn't go in a club once a week or 3 times a month now.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I'd
yeah.
rather
Of
shoot
course not.
myself in the head. It's too loud, it stinks, the drinks are shit, and have a headache the next morning. So no,
Yeah.
anyway, but but
Well, no, but that has a different iteration, right? I mean, like it's the same energy. It's just placed somewhere else, right? I think what I'm talking about is that it's not that like, I expect you to do the same thing that you did in your 20s. Let's go get three
let's face it,
martinis
that's
on a
not
Tuesday.
possible.
That's
Also,
not
yeah,
possible. It's also stupid, right? But
yeah, yeah.
there's something about that vibrancy and that energy, right? About exploring or having great conversation somewhere in a cafe, whatever, etc. That feels like a social power and an intellectual and or a cultural power that I feel like shouldn't change. Should be
Yeah,
just
I
placed
think
in
I
a
guess
different
I'm
vessel.
kind of
You know what I mean?
what I'm struggling with as we speak is to link it to certain behaviors or not behaviors,
Uh,
and outcomes actually of going out versus dinner party, or going to Jersey Shore versus I don't know, Brazil. But I think what's the underlying thing there is, is there still curiosity? Is there still eagerness to learn, to develop all of the things which we also know kind of we need to stay young in our head, like also physiologically, right? I mean, that's what makes our brain
totally.
reconnect and do these things, and actually not have any, whatever this word is about
Knee jerk.
brain diseases. Yeah, you can
Oh yeah.
get
Okay.
neurodegenerative diseases, I think.
Excellent.
Um,
By the way, well done. A
the,
plus.
yeah, that's the last drinks of Saturday.
Exactly.
Still having an effect on my ability to speak and pronounce. So I think, let's try to define what are the underlying qualities that keep us young. In uh,
uh, I love it. And maybe this is where it is. I think it's curiosity. I think it's play.
100%.
Absolute play. I think it's some social lubricant. Like there's something about community. Maybe it's that. Like
Oh,
uh
100% too. Yeah.
yeah. Um and curiosity, play, community. I want to say making, but maybe that's not for everyone. Like there's something about like whether it's your, you know, lawn experiment, like hey, we made a lawn or we built something. There's something about creating that I feel or
Yes.
even a meal that feels really kind of important, that gets you going. And I would argue probably curiosity is most important in community, but I think those four feel kind of right to me. Is there anything you would add?
No, I love those. I love the creating one. I mean, yeah, I hear you, and I think because if you think of again negative examples of all people, right, that you just said is people that are usually kind of feel lonely.
Yeah.
They're not interested in things. Um, they don't do anything, right? So that's all the things you just mentioned on the negative side.
Okay. Well, let's actually go through this in a sec. So this will
Yeah.
be fun, actually. Okay. So curiosity.
Mm.
Maybe like, do you have? I mean, I think we've all seen when people stop being curious, right? As a matter of fact, I think without getting into many of the world's ills are due to lack of curiosity about each other or about going deeper on a thing. But when you rest on your laurels, you're like, I feel like I've known enough. Done. Like that to me is a pretty queer. I like my music as I've always heard it. I like this as I've always done it. Like I don't need to know of a new thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I, I think it's curiosity is maybe there's two things there. One is the active, AI is coming, and I'm sitting down like I am doing right now. I think and trying to understand this. This is happening in the world. I'm trying to understand. I want to learn
Right.
something new. I mean,
Right.
my dad now is learning bridge, and he's 72. I mean, that's attributed to old people, but he's also like, but it's super complicated. There is no way you ever learn every rule of this game because it's so complicated. So he studies
Yeah.
this thing like he's at university. It's nuts. He goes
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
three
Yeah.
times a week, and he's on this shit. And he's always been good at playing cards, and he's on this. So that to me is curiosity. The other part is to me the ability to change and adapt to
Mm,
things that happen to us. that we can't influence. Societal shifts,
Sure.
technology shifts. Are you able to also embrace those? And probably has nothing to do with curiosity in a sense. I mean, it's easier when you're curious to adapt, I think. But I think changing and being open to change is also something. It maybe is another one of the attributes we haven't mentioned
It
yet.
is, but it's a good one actually to stay, resilient or fluid to change. I
Yeah,
agree with that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, what about play? So, I mean, play is when people just stop having fun, you know, or like turn off the
In
fun engine.
whatever shape or form. Yes. No, no, no.
Yeah.
I mean that because I think the ways you are having fun can change, but that's why I don't think the symptom and how it is the gauge of that. But are you actually having fun? Are you actually doing things that tickle your senses, that get you maybe out of the comfort zone, that get you,
Yeah, yeah.
all these things, but they can be very different.
Yeah, and or
Can go
people
to
who
I know, Ice White Shut party. That's that
no,
we
I
haven't
mean
done
not
before.
that,
I mean
but
that's
also like I mean, come on. I mean, you also have people who it's funny. There was this uh viral, I think dating. And we'll take it a little out of context. A meme that went around about guy was asking a girl out. They're planned a date, and she's like, "Okay, but just so you know, I have to leave at 9:30, right?" And he like canceled the date immediately, right? It's like. It's like why? It's like, well, you're clearly not opening yourself up to fun, like any fun.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. No, I mean that is clear. That
Yeah.
is a
It
bit,
doesn't mean like a
but that's
sex
the
thing, but it was just like,
inflexibility of not being
yeah,
open to change, right? I mean, I guess
that's right. That's fair.
flexibility, fluidity, as you mentioned it before, to me is a big part of this.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's fun. Okay.
And is but maybe if we want to take it back to what you said in the beginning, I was surprised when you said my definition of being old is only 20% of yours. I had never thought of the other 80% you talked about. That never
Mm,
occurred to me because in my mind, and I guess maybe I'm young at that. I'm always curious. I always want to learn. I don't want to do certain things I did in the past in terms of having to produce certain things, but I want to produce and create on my own terms much more now than I did in the past. And the only things that I attribute to oldness is bodily dysfunctions that
okay.
I'm not
But
used
but
to,
but but
and I let that creep in way too often. That I talk badly about myself and my age. Like, oh, my back hurts, of course, at 44, or whatever. My leg hurts,
right.
or whatever the fuck hurts. Something hurts all the
Okay.
time. I mean, there's not a day where something doesn't hurt.
Now, given everything you just said, do you think you are an like this mindset that you just shared, right? Do you think that's most people your age? Or like what percentage of people were that age or that age actually hold that
Boah,
of your age? Take a
I
guess.
don't think is a majority.
For sure not.
For
For
sure
sure
not.
not. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
No,
is
no,
the
for sure
spirit of
not.
this conversation, right? Like, because the majority
Yeah,
of the people are choosing like the alternate kind of path. Oh, okay, I'm in my career. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do that. Like, this is a thing I know. I'm just going to continue to know it.
yeah.
Blah blah blah
Fair
blah blah.
enough.
That's
Fair
kind of
enough.
the spirit of it. So to your credit, I agree with everything you just said. You're taking risks. You're reimagining yourselves. You're running fucking AI tools faster than they come out. Candidly, like it's kind of scary what you're.
I
Fair
have a new
testament to
story
it.
actually.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, no, it's fun. Lots of
Well,
fun.
the other interesting to range, and then there's like the community thing, and I think this is what's always fascinating to me. Like, do you ever have that? See, I have a few friends. They're like, I'm closing up shop. I have enough friends. I don't need to meet any other people, any new people. Do you ever have that? That to me is also another
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, I have it, but I also have to say, I also have that. I mean, I have to correct myself again. It's not only the bodily things, the whole community part, and I guess being alone, because also I am, I'm divorced, so sometimes I am alone. I'm coming back to a large flat that is empty, like
Sure.
today, and that is kind of lonely. And then I do work a lot. I work on our project, on other projects, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
there is this piece, and then I also like some things in a certain way. So, talking about the flexibility and the going to bed at 9:30, I can kind of relate. I don't like it anymore as much when shit is not happening in the way that I like it to happen. So I like to get up early in the morning without a headache. I like to go to the
Same.
gym at 8. I like to then go to bed early, and I'm fine when I completely leave all of this behind, like I did last week. Um, but But
that's not a
honestly,
lifestyle, right?
I
Yeah.
also caught myself then on Saturday, Sunday, saying, last week was awesome and fun, but also, I mean, I almost lost grip on the things that were happening. I also wasn't that present with all the alcohol we drank. I mean, what the fuck, yeah. And
Right.
I don't quite like that anymore. So I have a higher premium, I guess, on private, on presence and on really getting what's happening and not just blasting through it. That yeah, maybe that's a negative thing about being old, but sometimes I feel like I shouldn't become like the cynical, inflexible old man that wants things in a certain way. And I'll never find someone who wants to stay with me, I guess, when I'm like this. And I have that thought sometimes very openly. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I think
that's
you're
interesting.
different than me, when it comes to that. I'm maybe a bit more of an
Sure.
old man when going there.
Well, look, I mean, I'm not, and again, this isn't really an episode about partying. It's about a mindset that's useful sometimes as a proxy. But I hear you, and also like when I was, even this week, which is very socially intense. I'm like, okay, like back in the day, I liked that all the time. Now a little bit less so. And as to turn
Yeah.
it off, I think you find the right balance, but it's still. Again, balance being important and also trying to modernize a little bit of like what gave you fueled up your curiosity. It'd just be different things you would slot in that bucket, keeping it true.
Yeah, but I think I love this. I see. I mean, I asked you before, like a few hours ago, do we know what we're going to talk about? Is this enough? But actually, it's giving me something that I hadn't thought about, a little bit of a framework if we want. And let's fact check this afterwards about the things we talked about, right? The attributes, curiosity, ability to change and flexibility.
Mhm.
What else did we have?
Play,
Play, creation.
community, yeah, creation and community.
Creation and community. Okay, those 5 things. 5 is a great number. So I'm okay on the create part. I think I'm okay on the flexibility. I could already improve a little bit there. I'm okay on the community part. What did I leave out?
Play.
Play. I could.
I think you're pretty fucking good on the play part, dude. Are you
I mean, I
kidding
was
me?
pretty fucking good last week on the play part.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
good
let's
on the
put this.
play part.
You're good on the play part.
I'm actually
I wouldn't worry
sometimes too
about
good on the play part. Yeah, I
it.
agree with
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Exactly.
okay, like out of those 5 dimensions, I have 2 that I can, and I think there's sometimes a bit of the flexibility and definitely the community,
Mm.
and the curiosity about new people. Because in general, I like it, but I'm also sometimes very happy not to meet anybody. You know me. I'm more of a. I
Yeah.
can be an introvert and an extrovert. It kind of depends on the time of the day
Well,
and the
and
amount of
let's
wine
be
I had.
yeah, and let's be real. Like that's not a um there are introverts or extroverts, etc. This isn't to hit like those who are more
No, no,
introverted
no.
and
It's
say,
not
no,
about that. And one is better than the other. I'm just saying, but I could. I Yeah, no. Those are the 2, come again, that I would like to pay closer
mm,
attention to, because that's the ones where I feel it creeps in, right? And obviously,
mm,
what do you say? Mens sano in corpore sano, mens sane. Well, I never know. In corpore sano, I think. Anyways, so you have to have a healthy mind with a healthy body, and those 2 things,
mm,
as we know, they actually interact. Not one supersedes the other. So, and obviously that's the other one, staying fit in all of this, because I think when you start
of
hurting
course.
everywhere, it's much easier to feel old. So
Oh, that's
that's
when
obviously
that's exactly.
a
I think that's
predicament
the
and a kind of
baseline. Yeah,
a baseline, a
yeah.
condition present, which I fulfill, I think, very well. So there's no
I've
question
never
about
met
that.
anyone who was vibrant in life and not fit unless they were really rich. And that
Nah,
no, I just think
define vibrant.
in my experience, like every person who was like just like having a blast, etc., and not fit, like in their 50s and 60s, etc., and just living it. And I was like, oh, it's because you've got money and have oriented your brain really well. Like you're just lucked out that way. I feel like the
I don't
others
know. I
are like,
met people, like you say in German, is an Lebemann, people that really live well.
mm,
And my grandfather was one of those. He had a big belly, but he had lots of fun and he loved eating. He
yeah,
also died very early,
okay.
but
Well, there's that too.
he clearly wasn't fit, man. But he was vibrant. I mean, he was very vibrant.
Well, oh my God. Well, one of my dad's best friends was
Yeah, I
exactly
remember
had
the
a large
story.
belly. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Now he's in old man like territory. He tells the same stories, and lovely guy, but like his kids and his wife go on vacation, and he's still, he sits at home. But anyway, that's what happens, I guess, when you blow through your energy early on in life. Okay. Anyway, this was a lot of fun. It was rich.
Awesome. I think we even have a framework. I mean, I still don't remember the 5 things. I'm gonna remember them and put them in the show notes, which I always promise and I've never. All right. Okay, man. So Terminator and Idiot of the Week. And we're not talking about politics here today, guys.
No, we're not.
Which,
No, 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 no,
could be
no.
a topic.
Should I go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So Terminator of the Week, I have to give it to my friend in Berlin, Thomas Groß, who through, like, this is I think he's 43. Doesn't matter. But point is that, I mean, this is so classic Berlin, but he's actually doing it really well, which is he was leader of the CEO of this actually quite cool company, and is also part-time DJ. And the way he took out his decks for his house party and was DJing on a Friday night was bananas. Like, I could not believe.
Wow.
I was like, track after track after, and then it was just, the crowd kept going. We're like, should we go out? Like, should we go out? We all decided, no, we're just going to stay here. The music is killer.
So you did a house party. How old are you?
So he gets the Terminator of the Week, and then he, not only that, after this is a little crazy, but then on Saturday I woke up, I went to go see my cousin Jen, and then suddenly I see this guy. I was like, why isn't he still in bed? Like, he gets up, he puts on a jacket and tie. I was like, where are you going? He's like, oh yeah, I'm leader of this Ravers Council. We're like 12 waves. I said, we have a meeting. We have a meeting at 1 p.m. I was like, okay, you could take the Terminator role.
Okay, good one. My very good one. I mean, my Terminator is I guess Paris or Clamado again, where we were, and we haven't talked
an excellent
about
choice.
It,
yeah.
But it's an excellent choice. Again, we went to the restaurant where it all started. It actually was as good as it was the first time, I would say. And obviously the city, really, especially for a short visit, and I'm obviously aware that it's a tough city to live in, as any large city is, in terms of whatever, all the things, schools and money and green and blah 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 blah. But to just go there for a couple of days, meet up with a very good friend of yours, and just have fun and have a blast is amazing. If I ever lived there, I would shorten my lifespan by at least 10, if not 20 years. I mean, I'd say I had a breakfast on one day was a glass of wine and a cigarette, and that was on day 2.
There we go.
Kind of, that's how I felt, So if you kind of extrapolate this, it would have had a very sudden and end.
Okay,
but still,
good one.
Amazing place.
Good one. Good one. Okay, my idiot of the week is, guys, we've all had the Uber driver that would not talk. Shut up, right? Like, we've all had that, right? When you get in an Uber and you're like, oh my God, right? Yeah. Okay.
Not so often, actually.
I had an epic one. So I was in Paris and I was going to the airport to Berlin, to Orly. I hop in the Uber, right? I'm like, perfect, right? And then I'm writing a message and my phone's running out of batteries, so I can't use it. And the guy's like, Marc, Winter, ja, fliegst nach Deutschland. Are you German? And I was like, oh my God, right? And I answered,
was he
yes.
German? Yeah.
Dude, no, he was from Cyprus, but lived in Cologne and works in Paris, and then was just talking to me about 45 minutes about, like, incredibly inappropriate shit, like, that you did not want to know exactly about, like, his neighbors.
Wow.
I guess one anecdote is, like, maybe that's funny, but he's like, I had, 2 of my neighbors who overdosed on Viagra. It's crazy. It was like going on exactly. It was that conversation.
Jesus.
And you couldn't
How
shut
long
him up.
is the way to Orly?
It was 45 minutes of incredible, dude. And
That's
I was trying to
long.
be polite, but you needed to get to the airport, so that's the tension. So
yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I guess I did Idiot of the Week. I did myself last week, right? And
no, you did.
Yeah, I can do myself again. This is one worth, So, okay. Yesterday morning, I woke up still in the ski area, and it was an awful day. There was no sun. It was just fog. I was tired as fuck, as you can imagine. But we still had booked a guide. We're four of us, and I told the guys, I mean, I'm happy to pay my share of the guide, but I'm gonna fuck off and get an earlier train to Vienna because,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna ski
Yeah,
in this weather, and
right,
I'd
right,
love to be at home and see my kids and so on. So I
right.
left. Only 3 hours later, get an image from the guys who was basically the fog went up a few hundred meters, and then above the fog, it was fucking beautiful. And they had a great day, and they deserve
Oh,
it, and I deserve the idiot of the week. So that's it.
okay. Well done. Well done. Well, dude, it was
Man,
awesome
that was
to
fun. Good
chat
job.
with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, lovely. Have a good one.
Have a good week. Ciao.
Ciao.